This episode of the Paigncast has been brought to you by Eastern Illinois Food Bank's prom event. Over 100,000 individuals in our area face food insecurity. I am running for prom king, and I need your help to win. Every dollar counts as a vote and supports Eastern Illinois Food Bank. Click on the link in the description. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paigncast. This is a podcast where we shine the light on the people who brighten up our city. I'm your guest host, Cory Roberts, and I am so excited to introduce to you our guest this evening. You may know him as the GOAT of Quote, the daddy of deductibles. This is our very own Austin T. Beaty from Country Finance.
Oh, dude, is this what it feels like to be on this side of the
I was going to
camera?
ask you, how does it feel?
Dude, it's a little more nerve-wracking. I can see just you're stepping in. I don't know what the questions are.
Right.
You know, I'm on this side of the table for the first time. But I'm excited. Let's do it, dude. It's going to be a good time.
I was kind of wondering if it's going to be a little bit more nerve-wracking being as a host compared to
Well, you're staring down some talking points that I'm not super familiar with. Right. I don't know what they are.
Right.
So that's a little bit intimidating. And then as you're sitting here, as like the intro's coming in and the cameras are rolling, you're like, here we go.
Take a deep
Yeah,
breath. Let's
exactly.
roll.
Hey, before we get started, I've got something for you.
You got something for me?
You think you can just come on my podcast and bring me some stuff? And I'm not going to have some things for you?
Oh, man. I can't even tell you how excited I am.
Yeah,
for
dude.
this.
There's three things in there.
Three?
There's three different things in there.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
You know, you brought me some nice stuff. Obviously, the part of the set with the helmet. So I figured the least I could do was bring you just a couple of things.
Look at this. What we got here?
I brought you that, dude. I want to get you a goat shirt, your very own.
Dude, I cannot wait to wear
yeah,
this.
yeah.
This is going to be a staple in the Roberts household for sure.
So that's a good one.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Goat's milk soap, dude. Yeah,
I'm going to take this to the firehouse. We'll see how many guys can use
little
it.
goat's milk soap. I've never tried it, so you're going to have to let me know. It's a delicacy, though.
For sure.
Yeah.
Did you get this at where would you get this at?
See, that's a good question. Is I bought that online, but I'm not sure how goat's milk holds to turn into soap. So let me know how that works out for
using
you.
that tonight. We'll see what Janet thinks about it when I crawl into bed later.
So it's in a Christmas box. It's not a Christmas gift, but I think you're gonna like this one.
Let's do this. This is a goat chain.
Yeah, dude. Dependent,
see
dude.
this?
Yeah.
Veronica, did you know about this? Juan, did you know about this? Look at this.
Yeah,
I gotta
dude.
Put this on for the
Yeah,
rest of the
dude.
show.
Throw that thing on.
How do you find a
I did a
bedazzled chain goat?
Did a little research. Again, I didn't want to be outdone by your gift, so I wanted to make sure
That's hilarious.
we had some things for you here.
Well, it's unfortunate. I have something for you too. It's definitely not as cool, and it's something that you already have, but you can never go wrong with another 217 mortgage
Hey!
hat. So you got to.
I wear this hat all the time.
I know,
it's
man.
comfortable.
It's a great hat.
It fits
It really
good.
is.
And
It matches like a ton of things.
A double XL melon, and this thing fits right on it, dude. Thanks.
You have it stretched out all the way.
Yeah, I really do. I'm clipped onto the last two notches, but this works.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, dude.
Yeah.
Check this out. This is ridiculous. I feel like I'm getting ready, like Barry Bonds getting ready to head to the plate right now.
I was wearing that the other day when it showed up in my office, and my boss Nathan walked by, and he was like, "What is that?" He thought it was just like my new fashion choice. Yeah, he thought it was just a new fashion choice. I was like, don't worry about what it's for, dude.
That is awesome.
It's for a guest.
Well, cool. Well, before we get started, go ahead and promote. How can people find you?
Yeah. So,
What do people want to know?
I have obviously a podcast called the Paigncast. If you are watching this, you know that. So thank you for tuning into that. I have a Facebook page for my day job, which is Austin Beaty Country Financial. It's me and my wife. We do insurance, retirement planning, all of that good stuff. And then the Paigncast page actually has a Instagram page as well. So check that out. I've got Twitter that I basically use for nothing. It's just a straight up burner. I'm afraid that Twitter's going to be my undoing one of these days. If I had one that was tied to my name or post, not that I do anything crazy. It's just that it feels like every day someone's life's getting ruined from having an old social media page. So I basically just use it to follow people. I never tweet or anything, so it's not worth following me there. But that's about it. Other than that, check out the Paigncast, buy some insurance.
Good deal. I like it. I just had my Instagram get hacked. Have you ever had an account
I
get
saw
hacked?
that, dude. Dude.
They were trying to sell crypto and everything on my account. Like,
man. Did you get it back?
No, it is a pain
It's still gone?
in the butt. Like, I have reached out probably 5 times in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, cool. First and foremost, tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about where you're from. Tell us about how you got involved.
Sure. So was born in Bloomington originally. So I spent the first 4 years of my life in Bloomington Normal after I was born. Lived there for a little bit till my dad started with Country Financial, and then he was moved down to Saline County, Illinois. So at 4 or 5, before I started kindergarten, my whole family packed up. My brother was a baby. He's 4 years younger than me, so he's a newborn. And I was 4. Parents packed up, moved down to Saline County, Illinois, because my dad had a job as a claims adjuster. Nice. My mom was still finishing up school. They had me in their early 20s. So they were still kind of like getting established and like having kids, you know. So grew up in Galatia, was there for most of my life, you know, for the first 18 years of my life down there in Saline County. And then I got into Illinois State. Both my parents went to school at Illinois State, so I always kind of like thought that would be cool to kind of keep
Follow
that going.
the family dream.
Yes. So
Nice.
became a Redbird. Shout out to the birds. And was there for 4.5, 5 years. Super senior, you know. We took the victory lap. We wouldn't say we were in a hurry to graduate.
Yeah.
Did that. Graduated right at the same time that Kelsey and I were expecting Nash. So I graduated while Nash was on the way.
Nice.
So I'm out of there in May. We have Nash 2.5 months later in August. And then my parents were moving up here to Champaign right at that same time. And I didn't have a job. I just graduated college. Kelsey was a nurse, but she was expecting a baby. So as soon as we had Nash, we moved up to Central Illinois. I ended up getting a job at Country just because, like, obviously my dad has worked for Country Financial my entire life. He's a claims supervisor now, but had been in claims my entire life. Country was super good to my family. Gave me a great upbringing, and I was very, very thankful for that. And so I applied, knowing that at least like I appreciated the company. They were good to my family, all of that.
For sure.
So ended up getting a job in the billing department, just answering phone calls, talking to people about their bills. And it didn't take too many calls with agents before I thought, you know, I wonder if I'd be good at that, like selling, you know. I think at first it was kind of like hard for me to wrap. I had no sales experience. Like I wasn't, you know, I'd always been good at talking to people. I went to school for journalism, so I liked the idea, you know, about being on camera and stuff like that. But I just wasn't. I didn't want to report news. So then I was trying to think like, what's my career going to be? Just wanted my foot in the door because I had a baby to feed, and I had, you know, at the time, Kelsey was my just girlfriend before we had gotten married.
It's a little bit of a different pressure on you, doesn't it?
It was. So I wanted to make sure that I could have some income coming in, and then quickly realized that agency may be a good fit. So applied to an agency job about a year after I was in billing, and then ended up getting it. Started as a scratch rep here in Champaign, which is essentially like I don't have there's no book of business, right?
Sure.
0 customers, you know, and kind of get out there and see what you can stir up. And that was 7 years ago, and been here ever since.
Yeah. So when you graduated with a journalism degree, so how long were you in journalism before you knew that wasn't what you wanted to do? Or was it pretty quick?
Journalism was the coolest major because it wasn't papers. I wasn't out here like having to write term papers and taking a bunch of like written tests. My instructors would be like, you're going to get a camera and you're going to put together a story, right? And that's going to go on the air for the news. So I loved that, and I soaked a lot of that knowledge up. But the news, and again, God bless the people. I have friends that are still doing it. But there's a lot of like the news itself is just a lot of negativity, right? And it's not that like the people are negative that are behind it. It's just that the nature of the industry is people want to know about the things that could potentially be harmful. That's a human nature thing, right? So it was a lot more doom and gloom than I think I wanted to kind of just like live in. So I didn't really pursue it afterwards. I am eternally grateful for the experience and for the relationships and for the people. I use so much of that to even create this, right? Like a lot of like what I did there turned into this. And I attribute all of that to TV10. it just wasn't for me. I kind of knew that as I was getting close to graduation. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be a reporter.
Would have been a little bit different for you if you were strictly doing sports or something like that.
For sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
was
that
your
the
goal?
Yeah, that was the goal. As I thought, ESPN, right? You're a kid, you're watching Stuart Scott and those guys, and you're like, could I someday be talking about the NBA on TV? And I have some friends that have really kind of climbed up that ladder, and they could. The stars are very, very bright for them. It's very possible, but for me, I just knew that wasn't going to be the path that I was going to kind of take. So even towards the end of like getting close to graduation, I thought, I don't know. And then when I found out I was having a baby, for sure to get started in that industry, you're taking the toughest hours where it's like you're working overnight to get something ready for the morning shift. And a lot of those people don't make very much money for a starting gig in journalism. And that was kind of like the last nail in the coffin where I was like, I don't think that this is going to be something I pursue.
Well, sure.
But still wanted to use it for what I do now.
Yeah. And it makes sense, honestly. So you went to the billing department at Country, right? And then you switched over to being an agent. So agent, lots of sales, right? You didn't have any experience in sales.
None.
Right.
Yeah.
So how was that transition, and how did you get, I don't know, some of your skills, and how did that kind of grow?
So it's intimidating to kind of you get through like what we have is called Cal School. So you have your like the training on sales, right, where they teach you about the products and all of that, and you get through all of that, and you've got this new like basis of knowledge of how insurance works and how the systems work. And you get back and you sit down at your desk, and the phone doesn't ring. And it's not like there's like, and
like they're not just calling.
Yeah,
in,
exactly.
Right?
You're like, the phone's not ringing. So for me, I did a lot of just like trying to let people know that I was doing insurance. And it's funny too, because I was 25, right? So I had the shadow of college Austin Beaty was still lingering. In fair, and I get it. Where I'd hit people up and be like, hey, great to talk to you. I haven't seen you in a couple of years since we graduated. Hope you're doing well. Just want to let you know, I'm working for Country Financial. I'm selling insurance now. If there's ever anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to ask. Again, just wanted to kind of be a resource for you. And you'd have people that would be like, oh, that's cool, man. You still like taking your shirt off and like gargoyling kegs and stuff? And you're like, no, not so much.
You still going streaking to the quad?
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, not as much. But if you need anything, So anyway, that was a little bit of a transition here. But, dude, I spun my wheels so much whenever I first got started trying to like find your footing. Right, I was buying leads, which you're cold calling, and you're cold calling. Yeah. People a lot of times they weren't even the ones that filled it out, or they filled out some survey online to get a gift card. Sure. So you got, you're calling people and like, hey, I'm 25. Yeah. Hey, Austin Beaty here. I work here in Champaign. I saw that you might be looking for some alternatives for your insurance. Just wanted to see. And they're like, eat shit. Hang up on you. And you're like, no. And that would happen to me all of the time. And that would happen to me multiple times a day where, I'd walk back in the door. At that time, we were living in an apartment, just me and Kelsey and Nash. And she'd be like, how'd it go? Did you sell anything? It's like, nah.
No, not today.
Didn't today.
Maybe tomorrow, though.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, it can't get worse tomorrow than it was today. Yeah. Someone threatened to kill me, and another person, I think, did call the police on me. So that was just the start to the career. But then eventually you start to meet some people. You do a good job for some folks, and they're like, well, my brother's insurance company sucks. Quote him or something like that. Yeah. And you end up getting a little bit of momentum.
Sure.
So it's funny to look back now, and I'm appreciative of that start because one, it builds up thick skin, but then like you appreciate all of this so much more when you've kind of lived through the trenches of getting a sales
for sure.
started.
And that's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's awesome though. So as a sales position, right? Like you have a cool opportunity of working with a really diverse and a ton of different kinds of people.
Yeah.
What do you think is like, not like the best thing that you like about your job, but what is the best thing for your clients? Like what is the best thing that you can provide your clients? Like what do you,
I think, insurance as a product is what happens if the worst thing happens, right? Like, so that's what people want to know. If my house burns down, if I die and my kids and my family are left without me, what's that going to look like? I think what people come to insurance companies for, or at least like when they come to an agent, they want to sit across and they want someone to tell them, here's how we're going to deal with that if that happens. Here is how, and my goal whenever I sit with people is I want them to truly walk out, one, understanding what they paid for, because with insurance, I think that there's a lot of people that they have no idea, right? They bought it online. They're not 100% sure what it is they're paying for.
Yeah.
My whole goal is when people walk out of here to be like, I feel so much better knowing that this is taken care of.
For sure. That
I've got someone out there who's kind of working. So anytime that I meet with people, all I really want to do is provide that peace of mind.
Clarity.
That if the worst thing happens, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
We've taken some steps to make sure that this will be as smooth as possible, that we'll be able to rebuild here. This won't be a situation to where we are set back forever, type of thing. That's my goal. So anytime, I think that's like the best thing for my customers, and even like for growing my business, is I want people to walk away feeling better than they did walking in.
Sure. And you think that most of that is still, like, as far as marketing, you think most of that is still word of mouth? Like customers hearing from other customers that, Austin T. Beaty.
Could be.
I mean, he
really
takes care of me.
That and like people that I've worked with in the past. I mean, you're one of those guys that will send me someone who's like needs insurance, right? So guys like you, guys like Nelson, Michelle, Mont, Ginsler, all of like my friends in that space, all of my realtor friends, I got so many good realtor connections as well that like trust me because they know I'm going to do a good job or do my best for like the people that they're working with. That and then just like current client referrals for like, hey, my cousin said you did a great job for them.
Yeah.
I don't really know my insurance person, or my rates got too high. Will you at least take a look? And we can't always get them, but a lot of times we can. And if we can't, then they still, I think, walk away being like, I at least understand a little bit more about insurance than I did. So
did you really know that going into it? Like, did you know that you were going to be more marketing to referral partners as opposed to actual client to client?
No, I didn't. I had no idea. I truly walked into this being like, I can remember the guy that interviewed me being like, and this was a test that I'm sure that I failed, of him being like, do you think you could sell something once a week? And you're like, yeah. I'll probably sell something once a week. He's like, you think twice a week? And you're like, yeah, right. And he's like, could you sell something once a day? And you're like, I think it's possible. He's like, twice a day. And I was like, could be. He's like, what about 5 times a day? And you're like,
no,
maybe. I don't know. And the thing is, like, you'd be one of the top like insurance producers in the nation. So I had no idea what I was walking into at all. And again, 25-year-old kid, dumb. I didn't know anything about sales at all. So for me, like the marketing of myself and my business, I think that I did a lot on social media when I first got started, and that almost like piques the interest of people who could potentially help you down the road. But so much of life in general is like the sharing and the camaraderie and the people, like if I don't insure someone that could send me business, like I still so much appreciate that they trust me with people that they are working with. So when I first started, the idea of having people send me leads wasn't even like on my mind.
Really?
But it didn't take very long of like working with someone and doing some handshakes and being like, together we tag teamed this deal and got it done. We both benefit, and that was awesome. That's just a sweeter way to live. Like, just ended up making it more fun, as where you're kind of sharing in that success with some people that you like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So talk a little bit more about your business. So someone just came on board with you, right?
Yes.
So that was your wife?
Yes.
Yeah. How did that whole process go?
So my wife had been working. She's a nurse, was a nurse when I met her. She worked with the U of I for the last several years before coming on board with Country. Which was great. She was in the Division of Specialized Care for Children. They are a wonderful organization that, like, if there's a kid in the community who is blind, they'll pair them up with resources that will teach them Braille and where they can kind of have, like, an education. So it's more of, like, they supply resources for different kids kind of in need.
Gotcha.
So it was a wonderful thing. And then she got into, like, the training aspect of that. But what happened was my business was growing to where, like, I needed some help. And we were getting smoked on like childcare, right? Like that's a bill. That's a real bill. It exceeded the cost of our mortgage. Yeah. So my wife, was working for almost like very little actual take-home money. That's always kind of the way we looked at it, is like her income is almost going entirely to childcare costs. Right. So eventually my business, fortunately, had gotten to the point where I really, really needed help. And financially, we kind of just were looking at, like, if we tightened things up, could we potentially go to one income, and how long of it going well with country until we could make that money up? And eventually it finally made sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she came on board, and it's been great. Yeah. She has already helped me. We have complementing strengths. I'm a cowboy. I get out there. I want to just fire from the hip. I want to just do. I want to try stuff. Whereas she has so many processes, so many things that could help me. Things for me, like I'm scrambling. I'm going from this to this to that to that, and she is so much better about being like
bringing you back.
Yeah,
home.
Exactly.
Yeah,
come back here. Let's group these things together.
Yeah,
and it's made my life so much better. We just have very, very complementing strengths to one another. Yeah. So that's been fantastic.
That's really good. I know Jana, God love her, she brings me back to earth just about every day. Yeah. I mean, but yeah, that is such a blessing for sure. I think it's so interesting to be able to, like, does she work here part-time, or is she more full-time now?
Part-time. But she's in here. I mean, she works daily, but it's just not in here for the whole time that I am.
Gotcha.
Right?
So how is that, knowing that, okay, with her at home, and now we're coming in and we're working together at work. How's that? Do you guys talk about work at home now? Do you you kind of separate it really well?
We do sometimes. Like sometimes some things will come up from work. And again, a lot of the time it'll be like, we're not going to deal with this right now. We'll talk about it later.
I feel like that would be tough.
It can be. It can be. There were a couple of concerns that I think not only I had, she had, but everyone kind of had. Is like, one, it's a lot of spouse time, right?
Oh, sure.
We're at home all day, with each other on the weekends, and then we both load up, drop the kids off. We're back here at the office together, working together. But that hasn't been an issue. And I think that a lot of, a lot of people that could be with that much time with their spouse, but we're truly working independently on a lot of stuff. It isn't like we're sitting like this all day. She's got her own space. I've got my own space. So that dynamic has not been troublesome. And one thing that we kind of talked about beforehand is like, look, if for some reason this does become problematic, it's over. Right. Our marriage, our relationship, all of that stuff is paramount. That's what matters most here. If we can somehow make this work, great. Yeah. But if it's causing tension and there's friction between us that wasn't there because we're like not agreeing with how each other's work processes should be, it's over, right? We're going to quit that and we'll go back to just how life was before, which was going great.
Sure.
But that hasn't been an issue.
That's awesome.
Thank God. Yeah. It's been going really, really well.
Because it's always tough. Like, you don't know. I mean, it's just it could be tough. It's just different.
And it hasn't been an issue. Bringing her on board has helped. I've had the best year, like, start to my career for, like, because we operate on a calendar year. Yeah. This year has been so much better than any year I've had, and I attribute that to Kelsey's organization, her kind of keeping me focused, and her truly just allowing me to do what I do best, which is sit with people, market all of the stuff that I like doing. Stuff like this that's just fun. It's work. Yeah. But it doesn't feel like work because it's what I like doing. It's fun to me, and it's what I'm best at. Whereas she can do more of like the processes, the follow-up, like a lot of that paperwork stuff. She doesn't want to sell necessarily. Gotcha. But she has some really good ideas that can help me to maximize like kind of like what my potential is, I think.
So does she have to be licensed to work for country? Is that kind of what the thing is?
Yeah, to do what she does have to be licensed.
Yeah, sure.
But that was easy.
And she can still streamline like the back end of things for you, right?
Yeah, and like she's just ultra qualified, awesome. To do this job. I mean, she's overqualified, she's like she's not my assistant, she's my partner. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how it is. It's 50-50. What she does is not less important than what I do. It's just stuff that I'm not as good at.
Oh, for sure.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, that's awesome. So you were recently nominated for an award, right? The All-Star Award?
Yes. So we qualified for All-Star, which was cool. So there's like 2 incentives. If you like have a good start to your year, you can qualify for a couple of different incentives. One's like a trip that you can take your family on, which is the All-Star trip.
Nice.
And we qualified for that, which is sweet. So we get to take our kids to Destin. Romy and Rocky have never seen the beach, so it'll be the first time. Can't wait to see how much sand Rocky can eat before he gets busted and someone has to stop him. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then the next one is like a trip where if you could basically carry out the rest of that momentum through the duration of the year, that trip is to Monte Carlo, which is in Monaco, like the south of France. Which I've never been out of the country. You've been out of the country before?
I
never have.
I've been to a couple different countries. Yeah, just mostly on like mission trips and stuff like that.
Oh,
It's
man.
a great experience.
I can't wait.
So you've never been out of the country, man?
Never in my
That's
entire
awesome.
life. Yeah, I can't wait to go. Yeah, it's going to be sweet.
You're going to have a blast.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
It's like a really, really cool place. So anyway,
You
we're
do
pushing
plane
for
rides
that.
fine?
Yeah, I've had one major vacation in my entire life. And it was also through country because that's the only way I can afford to take nice vacations.
Hey,
but
I mean, it works.
It works.
Right?
It's fine. I'll take it.
I need to tell Justin that we need to start getting vacations.
Yeah, dude. Truly. We went to Hawaii for the first time. It's the first vacation like I've ever had. There was a big one. And the other one's been with my family. Florida's great. Yeah. But I'd never, Florida's also like accessible. I can drive to Florida. It was the first time I ever like had to hop on a plane to go across an ocean. Yeah. And it was sweet. Yeah. The flight sucks. Yeah. I mean, it's long. Right. It's a long time to just kind of be sitting.
France will be longer, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be a long one.
I think the longest flight I had, gosh, it was to London. And I can't even remember how long it was, but I just remember like I've been on this plane for a very long time. Yeah. Like there's no way we still have a bunch of jet fuel left, right? I know. So, but it's a really cool experience. You'll really like it. Yeah. I think that you'll have to let us know how France is.
I can't wait
on the next Paigncast.
Monte Carlo is like it's like James Bond. They did like a James Bond thing down there. So there's like a ritzy casino. Really? I am 45% white trash. So it's going to be hilarious that I am in like this ritzy area. There's going to be a lot of like nice fashion and nice cars, and I'm in a Limp Bizkit cut off T-shirt, just looking like shit. But hey, if I qualify, I'm super excited. Yeah. I hope that we can make it happen there. We're very much on pace for it. So
by then you'll be looking like Brad Pitt from Legends of the Fall.
I hope so,
with
dude.
As long as your hair is going to be.
I hope so. They're going to sniff the American out on me immediately. They're going to be like, fucking Americans. Here, look at him. Stupid haircut.
So is that going to be like? Would that be like a Kelsey and Austin trip, or would that be kiddos?
That's the thing is. That one is just you two. Yeah. It's just the spouses.
That's awesome.
I love my children. I love my children. Yeah. I love my children.
But they can stay home for that one.
They can stay home. Yeah, exactly.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Yeah?
I have an 8-year-old son, Nash. I have a 4-year-old daughter, Romy, and a 2-year-old son, Rocky.
Yeah? Nice. Yeah. So how's that at home?
It's just chaos.
Yeah.
Right? It's chaos nonstop. I know that I'll miss it someday when they're not.
Oh, for sure.
When they're not that little anymore. And even now with Nash, like he cares about things that he didn't before, like appearances, all the stuff that you do naturally, right? Like you want to look cool. You want this different stuff going. And he still thinks I'm cool right now and wants to hang with me. And I'm just trying to soak it up. You want to bottle it all up because there's a finite amount of days to where they're like, Dad's A1.
Right.
If he's down to hang and do some stuff, let's do it. But
did you have like a transition where like they were all about mom and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now dad is starting to be cool.
So my Nash, whenever Nash got into sports, he and I really kind of started to bond. Rocky's a mom. I mean, he's the baby, so he's all mom all the time. I mean, sometimes he would like hurt himself, and I'll like get down on a knee, like open up my arms, like, oh no, and he straight around me. Yeah, he's like, let's go ahead and bring in a professional dad. Why don't you get out of the way? We'll tag it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and tag mama in here.
Exactly.
What's interesting though is my little girl is a total like daddy's girl.
Really?
I didn't have neither one of my sons was like a cuddler or a snuggler. And Romy just thinks I'm the coolest.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's the best. Yeah. It's awesome. I didn't have a sister growing up, so it was just me, my dad, and my brother. Yeah. A couple of dude dogs. It was so my mom, she's the only girl in the house. So I never had like a little girl around. But it's very, very, very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Different type.
Yeah, for sure.
Relationship.
So are you guys done, or are you guys?
Yeah.
Way done.
Yeah, way done.
Way done for sure.
It should be impossible.
3?
God willing. Science. If science does
3
what
is
it's supposed
plenty.
to. Yes.
Well, I mean, I applaud you for even having 3.
At
2 was plenty for me.
That was we got an easy second one. So that's, I think, had we had Nash, who was a super tough baby, if we would have had him second, I think we would have been done. That'd have been it, right? Because he had a really hard time, cried a lot, colicky, all that stuff. Yeah. And Romy was a just easy breezy baby.
Really?
Got along, didn't cause any problems.
So you're telling me girls are easier than boys?
She was easier baby. Got into toddler age, and that's exactly. She's got way more attitude than her older brother did. Yeah. So I think that so much of it comes with like how easy was the child beforehand. With Nash, we waited 4 years before we had another baby. With Romy, we waited. I mean, I think that Romy would have been like 11 months when we found out Kelsey was pregnant, you know.
Yeah.
That's how easy she was.
Yeah.
God bless her. Yeah.
Good deal. So they're into sports, right?
Yeah, so Nash is. Romy is still like, I think that Nash is athletic, and he likes sports. He's very, very interested. Romy's going to be more artsy. You can kind of already tell. She likes to color, likes to paint. She puts way more effort into the things that she's into, whereas Nash should kind of be like, I'm done with this. Scribble, scribble. And then Rocky is just a brute. He's got that last kid. Like, you got to play faster to keep up with your siblings. He's a risk taker, falls, gets scratches, cuts, all of that stuff. Yeah, he's just a bad man.
That's a typical baby, right?
Yeah.
Or like the youngest.
The youngest,
right?
dude. Yeah,
Wild.
You got to play faster.
Yeah.
You're already seeing your siblings doing all of this crazy shit. You want to go at the same speed they are.
Oh, for sure.
So,
cool.
yeah.
Well, I want to transition a little bit to some of your marketing.
Okay.
And so I think that your social media marketing is, for me, it's second to none, man. I think it is legitimately hilarious.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of people do. So where do you get lots of your motivation when it comes to, like, I'll give you an example. Your You video.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you produced that or if Veronica produced that or how that all went, but like, where do you get your ideas and how do you try to translate that into insurance?
That's a good question. I truly, that was one of those things to where, like, creativity was never one of my, like, I've always kind of had, like, the creative brain for that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So it'll truly just be like I'm sitting there watching something, it's something that has my interest, and I'm like, all of a sudden, like, that switch just kind of flips, like, oh, that could be like a funny idea.
Yeah.
I have some really funny ideas that, like, I can't even make them because I'm like, I worry a little bit about, like, my job. I'm worried that someone's going to call and be like, you have to stop. You can't do that. Let me bounce this idea off of you. Because this is one where I thought, this is such a funny idea, but I'm worried that, like, it could cause me trouble. So I'll just tell you what the idea was. Perfect. I wanted to do, there was a show on MTV called True Life at one point. And it was basically like people would talk about, like, this crazy thing, like, I am a true life, like, I was raised by clowns, or, like, true life, I am addicted to, like, eating styrofoam, or whatever crazy thing it is. And I had this idea post-pandemic to do a true life, to where it's kind of like a confessional tape, and it's kind of like chronicling, my whatever my thing is, the interesting thing about me. And I wanted it to be that I was a chronic mask debater. And the whole joke is I'm like, my name's Austin, and I'm a chronic mask debater. And it's not political at all, and it's not even me taking a side of what I think about masks. All I want to do is the whole joke is that it sounds like I'm saying mask debater over and over and over again. It's like my family caught me when I was mask debating in the mirror, just looking at myself. And I was alone. The whole, and so I have to stop myself from doing some of these ideas, even when I'm like, this is hilarious. So that creativity, I've always kind of had that.
It just rolls.
I've never had, like, an issue with that.
I think you do such a good job of just walking that line, right, between just edgy and professional. Right?
Yeah.
You're so good at being white collar when you have to.
Yeah.
Right. But then you're also so good at being edgy when you can.
It's this weird thing to where, like, I think that in my profession, a lot of these white collar professions, you're expected to be this rigid, of like, I don't joke around because I'm so serious about what it is that I do. And I never wanted it to be, I never thought that it had to be mutually exclusive, fun and good at your job. Yeah. I think that there's lots of accounts that I'm good at my job. I don't take much serious as a rule. I'm a lighthearted dude. I've always, I think I come from a line of people that kept life light. They kept it fun. It doesn't have to be this ultra serious thing. And I think that you can be good at your job and still be a guy who's fun and fun to be around. It's weird how your youth, your silliness, all of that stuff is something you're expected to lose, right? Like, you're supposed to get older and it's like, I'm just not, like, goofy anymore because I'm a man now, whereas I think about, you think about your kids, and that is almost like, and I'm about to sound like whimsical idiot here, but so bear with me. But you think about your children, if you ask them, you know, like, what time is it? The answer is always like, it's now, right?
Yeah.
Like the time is right now.
Right now.
They are here to play. They're here to have a good time. And at some point, while you're kind of, I think, going up, you get recess. It's like, you can be silly. It needs to be in 45 minutes whenever recess hits.
Sure.
And as you kind of start to get older, you compartmentalize your fun and your
Yeah.
goofiness and your silliness and the things that make you happy, right? Because it's like, you're working. You need to be doing work stuff right now. Fun is not right now. And I truly love the ability to mingle those two things, to intertwine.
Yeah.
This is something that's fun to me. This is something I really like. It's basically play. It does serve a little bit of a purpose with my job, but I want to be able to combine those elements successfully. And it can be tricky to be silly and talk about something like insurance, which is not necessarily a fun topic.
Sure.
So I like the challenge of trying to intertwine those two aspects.
Well, I think that, I mean, you still wear suits sometimes too, but it's also can be intimidating for people.
Sure.
You know, to come walking into an office and being across a desk from somebody who is so like, you know,
oh yeah,
like that in a suit. But
I think people like the reassurance sometimes. I mean, listen, if I'm talking to someone about like what will happen if they die, I want to come across as professional. 'Cause
Absolutely.
we're talking about serious stuff here.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to someone about their life savings, I want to come across as professional because they need a professional at that moment.
for sure.
But I don't think that like you have to be that ultra like professional, you know, type of guy 24/7.
For sure.
Because that's not how I am. That's just never how I've operated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. So I also want to talk about you had Lucas Bird
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah.
So he is your sponsored athlete
that's my
now.
guy.
Yeah. So how was that whole deal going NIL, right? And doing a contract with Lucas. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I know some people that are within U of I wrestling. And insure some of them, and kind of whenever this NIL deal hit, I wanted to help them because listen, your basketball players, your football players, I'm sure even a lot of your baseball players, those guys have offers, right, of people that would like to sponsor them. Some of your lesser known sports, I don't think are getting that, and you're still in danger of losing them to the transfer portal.
Right.
Luke Bird is a certified stud. He's a 2-time All-American. I think that this dude could be a national champion someday. He's an absolute killer. I don't want him to go to Penn State. I don't want this dude to go to Ohio State. He's from Ohio. Right. I don't want him to leave. So I think that it's a cool thing to be able to offer him like, hey, I want to put you on. I want to give you a little bit of extra cash. I don't know. I'm sure it's a drop in the bucket for what this dude makes, like teaching camps and stuff like that.
Sure.
But to me, I thought it would be a neat way, one, to advertise, but two, I wanted to I want to keep him. I don't want him to go. I love that he wears, you know, orange and navy and reps the Illini, and he's got a chance to win a national championship every year, and he's a 2-time All-American, you know, as a sophomore. It's incredible. So I want him to stay, and that's kind of like, that was my motivation behind it. And I think that that's like, if you're looking at NIL deals, obviously you want to promote your business. But you also want those kids to stick around. You know what I'm saying? You want to offer them some stuff to where they're like, I got some cool people here, some neat things going.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my motivation behind it.
I think it's such a cool thing too. I'm glad that athletes are now able to.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I mean, it's been such a good thing for them.
Yeah.
You know, like instead of somebody else getting the money that off of their name, you know, they're able to.
Totally. I mean, God bless those kids. I love that they're able to get their money right now. And for, you know, a lot of these guys, like, it's such a good thing for the University of Illinois because we can keep some of these kids around now too, you know.
Especially if they're sponsored locally.
Yeah, you're not exactly. You're not wanting to go to the NBA G League, right? There's more money here. There's more money in Champaign, and I don't have to go overseas and play basketball in Lithuania. You know, I can stay right here in Champaign. I'm a little like local hero here. We've got a chance to win a championship, and I'm making good money, right? I'm making more money than anyone in the history of my family playing college hoops for the first time.
So was that a tough process, like getting in touch with Lucas, or did you already kind of have him in your thoughts?
No. So basically, whenever I reached out to wrestling, I was like, "Who would you think would be a good fit?" I know the coach's wife, Callie.
Nice.
Yeah, she's a friend, and kind of reached out to her, and I was like, "I want you to talk to Coach Poeta and who would be like a good fit." And that's who they recommended to me. They're like, this kid's not only a stud, but he's just a cool dude. We think you guys will mesh, and we have. Luke has become like went from someone who I consider just to be like a sponsored athlete to being like one of the homies.
Yeah.
He's like one of the bros. Yeah. He's just a good dude. He's way younger than me, so you almost get to live like college vicariously through him when he kind of talks about like some of the, like just classes and all of like, the collegiate stuff that you do.
Yeah.
But it's also fun to sit down from a kid who is world class. He was, I think he finished in fifth place at 133 pounds in the nation. I mean, that's crazy, right? Like he's an absolute stud. So it's funny to be able to kind of sit with him. But Callie's the one that recommended that he would be a good fit for me because I wanted to put on a wrestler. I know our basketball guys are getting love. I know that. I wanted to put someone on from a younger sport, and I'd love to expand that to, how many NIL deals are like the women's tennis players getting and stuff like that. Like I bet not much. I'd love to bring one of them on and give them kind of the same deal. And again, I'm not expecting a ton in return other than like, let's do a photo shoot,
Sure.
Let me throw you some country financial gear. And if you're Luke Bird and you hear someone mention,
and I'll put you in an awesome marketing video.
Yeah, that, and if you hear someone mention another insurance company, you put them on their neck, dude. You take them down right now. You shoot a double leg, and you end that conversation.
And
quick.
I need you to wear this country financial sweatshirt.
Yeah, exactly.
all the time.
Yeah, make sure they know.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
And I'll come pick you up in my Challenger.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best.
Well, cool. Well, I have a couple fun dad jokes for you. We all love dad jokes.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
So I had to kind of do a little bit of research, right? I mean, you can't just do a dad joke in here and not try to incorporate the goat. Okay. So let me see if this floats your goat a little bit.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Who's the best business goat in the goat world?
Is this a joke?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Bill Goats.
That's
you can use these whenever you'd like. All right. What's a goat's favorite hobby?
I don't know.
Goat cart racing.
Oh, okay.
What do you call a goat swimming really fast in a lake? A motor goat. You can use these. I'm telling you. What do you call a mountain goat?
Mm-hmm.
A hillbilly.
Oh my God.
Yep. And what do you call a beard on a billy?
Tell me.
A goatee.
Oh, okay. Come on.
I had to do a little bit of a fun segment with you. You can use these whenever you like.
Those are great.
Plus, it makes me look a little extra
I love it. No,
credentialed.
it's right up my alley.
So before we leave, you do this with all of your guests.
Yes.
What is the advice that you would give your 16-year-old self?
It's interesting. I asked this question a lot. I wondered if you'd be hitting me with this.
Yeah.
I think that I wish that I would have applied myself more to the things that I was doing. I always did just enough in terms of like scholastics. I didn't have a hard time with high school. So it was like, I get B's with my eyes closed for the most part. Same with basketball. I never really necessarily pushed myself to be like, and again, I never would have been a D1 athlete, but I was always just having fun. I wish that I would have maybe applied myself a little bit more, not just because like I wanted to, I wasn't going to go to Stanford. I'm so happy with how all of like my collegiate stuff worked out. I think that I could have just learned more. I straight up was just going through the motions. Like, this is what I have to do in order to like continue to play basketball. Is I have to at least get a B in algebra. And now, because I didn't try hard in algebra, I'm just so bad at math. It's just not my subject. So, like some of those things that I wish
Love that coming from a financial rep,
I know,
right?
it's crazy. Now, again, we've got plenty of qualified people who help me with that. But I wish that I would have applied myself a little bit more at some of those things. Not because, like, I care about the grades, other than I could have, like, I had an opportunity to learn a little bit more.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I never, I always went through school as if it were a requirement, not an opportunity. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
A chore.
Sure.
I wish that I would have spent a little bit more time. I didn't try hard in college until like I got into my major because I was actually interested in it.
Sure.
But I went through the motions for so many classes leading up to it because like I could come away with a B or a C without really trying very hard. And I don't care about my GPA. No one's asked me for my GPA since I've graduated. They just don't typically for most of the professions you go into. Not trying to talk anyone out of trying hard in school, but most of the time your GPA doesn't matter. But I had an opportunity to learn about some interesting things. Like I would love if I could go back and sit through that. I took like a Gothic architecture class at one point in college because I needed like an elective, and I was just straight up like I didn't try hard at it. I went through the motions, whatever it was, to get a B-.
Right.
what a cool class, right?
Yeah.
Like I could have really have even just consumed a little bit more of that. If I could go back, I would tell myself, hey, your grades are one thing. Those are fine. But you have an opportunity here. Don't consider your education a chore.
Sure.
Don't consider that something you're forced to do. See it as an opportunity. Maybe apply yourself a little bit more, not because like you care so much about the grades, but because you have a master in front of you that's willing to kind of invest their time for you to learn this stuff. Soak it up.
Yeah.
Appreciate a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
So if I could go back and talk to my 16-year-old self, it would be like, don't worry about your grades. That's not necessarily what's going to matter to you. Try and consume a little bit of this, okay? Use this as an opportunity because you'll be interested in some of this stuff later, and this would be really nice foundational free stuff to you. There are people literally trying to teach it to you, and you're like, just get me out of here, dude. I want to play football or whatever it is. So.
And I think that's really, really key. Like when you said that there's masters here trying to teach you. Like we have such undervalued professors out there and just teachers. And I'm not just saying college, just everybody who doesn't apply themselves to something that somebody is teaching them, right? And then just applying yourself just a little bit more, as much as you can, right?
My the guy that does like my tattoos offers to let me like go over to his house and paint sometimes or something like that. And I could sit like that's a different type of learning, but it's so much the same of like he is a master at what he does and he's willing to kind of just let me sit and listen and ask questions. And I wish that I would have applied that same curiosity, even if it wasn't something I was super interested in. Something of it would have been valuable, and there's so many different, it could have led to other things. I wish that I would have applied myself just a little bit more in some of those things because I think that I would have I think I would have liked it if I would have known what I know now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, man, this has been such a blast. I'm really glad.
I had a great time. It's been great.
Yes.
Sitting on this side.
It's been awesome being able to host, and I'm so glad that it's been you that I was able to.
Thank you for doing it, dude.
Yeah,
it was a great idea.
Yeah.
As soon as you told me that, I was like, I'd love to make this happen someday.
Yeah, it just makes the most sense.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Paigncast. We will see you next time.
Nice, dude. Thank you. That was fun.